Today we'll be using Microsoft Excel to create a customer database. Now the name of the company that we'll be looking at is ABC Limited. So we type the name of the company in the first cell. So we say ABC Limited Customer Database. Now, if you observe closely, you will realize that the name of the company is longer than the cell, but we'll leave that to the end and we get back and we fix that. Now, we go to cell A2 and now we're going to type our headings that we'll be using to color the data for our customer. So we start out with last name. We move on to first name and then we complete all the other cells to complete the heading. Now that we have completed filling in all the heading that we'll be using, first name, last name, date of birth, gender, address, telephone number, email, comment, or feedback, we'll realize that some of the headings are too large for the cell. There are two ways that we can actually expand our cell. We can click at the top and we'll get an arrow, a black arrow pointing in two directions, and we hold on the left click of our mouse and we move in the direction that we wanted. That will open the cell. Or we can simply go to where the cell ends and we double click on where we get the double arrow, and it will expand or make the cell to the size of the heading. So we just do that for all our cells and we make them wide. Next, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to create a drop-down menu in Excel. And the two drop-down menu that we'll be doing is for parish and for gender. Now we click in the cell below gender here, and we're going to create a drop-down menu for gender. So instead of typing in male or female, we can select it from a drop-down list. So what we do is to go to data on our menu bar, and then we will select the option that says data validation. Select data validation. We'll get this window. From that, we'll select list because we want to create a list. Then we type in the gender that we want. So we type in male and we press comma. We don't need space or write female. Then we press OK. When you look here, you will realize a down arrow appears here. Now there's a list. I can select male or I can select female. Now that we have finished preparing our drop-down list for gender, we'll do the same thing for parish. So we come to parish and then we go back to data. We look for data validation. We click on it. Now we need a list just the same way. So we continue by clicking list. Now what will happen here, because we have a lot of parishes, instead of typing all the parishes, I click on this arrow. Now I had already prepared a sheet with a list of parishes and I click on sheet 2 here. I highlight all the parishes from where it starts and I drag my mouse down to where it ends, and the cells will fill in. Then I click this little icon here, and what will happen, the sheet and all the cells will be filled in, and I'll press OK. Now I can simply go ahead and autofill all the sheet right down to 20 as I did before with gender. So basically what will happen here, once I come here and click into any of these cells, I will get the drop down menu where I can just automatically select whichever parish that I would want here. My next step is to fill in the customer information. So we start with last name, so we say Brown, followed by the first name, which is John in this case. Then we'll put in the date of birth. So we say the person was born the 12th of the 12th, 2013. Now we can go ahead and select the gender from the list. So John is a male, so we select John. I'll put in John's address. So we say John lives at lot 237 Orange Grove. And then from that list, we can also select which parish John is from. So we say St. Thomas, we select St. Thomas, and we can go ahead and put in John's telephone number, his email address. And if there's a feedback, we can go ahead and put in the feedback. But if you realize the cells are too small to hold the information, so what I can simply do is to expand the cell. Or if not, if I don't want the cell too wide, I can click on the cell go to home, then select text wrap. Now it will wrap the text and the text will fall below the other when you get reach to the end of the cell. Now our next next thing that we're going to do is to format our table, make it look a little bit better. So now we realize that ABC here is in the first cell. So what I want to do to stretch across the cell, so what I need to do is to highlight it. When I highlight it, I come to Merge and Center, which is under the Home tab, and I click Merge and Center. Now realize the name of the business now is centered. I can go ahead and change the font style. So what if I like this font style? I can change the font style. I can change the font size also. And now we have a bigger heading. Next thing that we can also do, we can also highlight the cell, and we can also brighten the borders of the cell. So we can simply click on one to say all borders, and we give the cell all borders. And this is just a simplification of what you can actually use Microsoft Excel to do with creating a custom database.